Good afternoon. This is another edition of Entrepreneurs Corner, the students edition. And with me in the studio, we have a student of the University of Lagos. I'd ask him to introduce himself.
Good afternoon. My name is ODUNMOLOUN OSINEYE. I'm a 500 level student of the Faculty of Law, University of Lagos. And I'm an entrepreneur.
So when you say entrepreneur, what exactly do you do as an entrepreneur?
Well, presently, I manage other people's funds. So what I basically do is I get funds from people who are willing to invest, and I look for, very good investment opportunities to help them generate profits on their capital. Basically, I currently have investments in cryptocurrencies, I have investments in Forex, I have some investments also in real estate.
So do you have a specific clientele, or you just generally invest in any kind of business? Do you particularly target, like you mentioned cryptocurrency, you mentioned Forex, you mentioned real estate. Are those the only things you dabble into, or you are wide open?
Like I said, presently, I've been involved in a number of things, in the past, and I still hope to, invest in some other things going forward. So right now, that is what I have and what I'm involved in.
All right, Mr. Odun.
Yeah.
So could you give us a brief history of how you came about your business, how your business came to light? I'm assuming you didn't wake up and find yourself in business. It was
Well, yes. Like I said, I have been involved in doing business since I was in diploma in University of Lagos. So that's like 6 years ago. And I would say that it just all started as a result of the fact that I needed to survive on campus. Yeah, I really needed to survive. I had to pay my fees, I had to leave, and basically just survive. So I got involved in a bunch of things. I've had a recycling business on campus, I've had tricycle business on campus, I have sold yams, I have gotten involved I've sold handbags and all of that before I got to this point where I'm currently now managing investments. So for what I'm doing right now, it basically just started as a result of the fact that I had just suffered a huge loss where my tricycle was stolen, and I had also lost some money in some other clothes business I invested in Togo. I'd lost about 1.4 million naira, and then I was broke and I had to start all over again and all of that. So I was discussing with a friend who had been trading in cryptocurrency and was telling me how his returns had been and stuff. Of course, I didn't have any money at the time, so I spoke to a few other friends who knew that I could, get their money back to them, and so they gave me some money, and that was how I started all over again.
All right, that's interesting. So, as a student entrepreneur, what's your driving force? Do you have a mantra, a motto, something that keeps you going?
Well, like I said, what got me started was the need to survive. But I would say that what keeps me going is the desire to want to help others. I think that where I am right now, I am reasonably self-sufficient. So what I think I am really fighting for to keep working and to keep growing is just the dream to help other people grow, the dream to be able to support other people and see them become whoever it is that they want to become in life.
Okay, Mr. Odun, being a business person, you get to meet a lot of people and people have different human behaviors, human characteristics. So I'm sure in the course of your businesses, you've met really great clients and you've met some really aggressive ones, out of the box clients that. So how do you deal with people like that? People that make your business life very difficult. How do you deal with them?
Well, for me, I don't really see difficulty in business. I always find a way around everything to be able to get to the goal. I think that's how you can stay afloat. I think that's how you can keep moving forward. I read a lot, so I've had to read books on psychology. I've had to read books on people management and, customer management. I've attended seminars. In these areas too. So, first of all, I would say it's in me, based on the fact that I've acquired a lot of information in that area. But practically, it's just about trying to identify the kind of person who, this person you are dealing with is. For me, in my head, I try to get into their head. Based on what you're telling me, I'm able to tell why you're saying what you're saying. And, I just try to keep it plain and make sure I maintain peace as much as possible. So dealing with difficult people, for me, isn't really an issue. I just always make sure that I deal with you on your own terms as much as possible.
Do you have a role model? Do you happen to have somebody you look up to?
Yes. There's this guy who I would say, for the want of words, drove me into doing business. His name is Jerry Agbodesi. He used to be a student in the Faculty of Law, currently in the US at the moment right now. When I was in diploma, school fees was 350k and my dad gave me 200k and told me that was all he had and I had to fend for myself. So I was asking people for money and all of that. So I met this guy who at the time was an entrepreneur and he was a comfortable millionaire. He had a car. It was in year 3 at the time. And people told me to go and meet him and, he was going to give me money. So I did. I met him and he told me to keep asking people. And I was like, people told me to go and ask people. That's why I'm asking you. And then he just said, keep asking people. And he walked away, walked into his car and drove off. And then I thought, this guy is a student. Whatever it is that he's doing, I can also do. Yeah, something like that. And so basically, that was how I made the decision to find out how to make money on campus and all of that. He was involved in a lot of things. After that incident, we have met, we have done business together. I have made money for him, and we are really good friends now. He felt really bad that he said those things to me. He did not believe he did, actually, because he's known for helping people on campus. He's paid so many people's school fees and all of that. But basically, Jerry Agbodesi is a person I would say is that role model
for you.
Yeah, for me.
Well, that's very interesting. So what's your typical business day like?
When I'm not sleeping, I'm working. That's how it is for me. And when I'm not working actively, I'm reading. I literally do not have any free time because for me, I see myself as an entrepreneur. I dream to build and manage businesses. Typically, what Richard Branson is doing. I mean, this guy currently sits on over 200 boards and companies that he builds, by himself and stuff. So if you are going to be that kind of leader, you can't afford to be idle. You have to be able to, at every point in time, create activities for yourself to get involved in. So that's how it is for me. So my day starts off, I wake up, of course, early, like 5 a.m. I pray, study my Bible, and I also read a book every single day. I'm always reading a book. I have a book with me everywhere I go. I have a soft copy and I also make sure I have a hard copy. Then, of course, I'm a student. As a student, I also have to read books.
Your regular student duties.
Exactly, go to classes and all of that. So when I'm not doing all of those, I'm working or maybe I'm in a meeting or, basically. So when I'm not sleeping, I'm working.
Okay, that's interesting. So your business life, does it in any way affect your your academic functions?
Certainly.
Because I do know for a fact that law is very time consuming. So how do you juggle it? Do you have a skill of preference?
Well, historically, I've always been a very good student academically. Primary school, head boy, secondary school. And then when I got to the university, of course, I was very good back then in diploma too. I had my results were basically like A's and B's. And then I started business actively in year 2. Then I used to import bags, ladies' handbags from Cotonou, and I would sell on campus. And then I also had a tutorial. I was also taking students tutorial at the time. My grades were pretty good year 2, year 3. My grades really started really dropping. Started dropping when I was in year 4. Yeah, I think the courses at that level are actually very intense. You start doing courses like land law and all of that. My grades started dropping, and it was really bad.
Something like this tax law I keep hearing people talk about.
Yeah, I did tax too. And well, tax is technical, but then it's not exactly difficult to pass. Tax is technical, but it's not exactly difficult to pass.
I think one of your colleagues here begs to differ.
Well, you know how it is now. We're all students, so people have like different opinions.
Okay.
Yeah, I failed land law. I think that was the first course I would ever fail in school, and that kind of cost me to have an extra year. I failed land law. I failed partnership later on. So when I started, it was really good. My academics was on point, but after some time I got really involved. I got so busy. I was traveling everywhere. I was, sometimes I'm in Port Harcourt, sometimes I'm in Mina, sometimes and I wasn't attending classes. At that point, it really affected my grades when we got to the really intense and difficult courses and all of that. So I would just say that it has not been a crystal clear for me, but so far I'm good. I'm done now. I just wrote my last exams, and I'm happy. I'm happy about it. That I'm really doing what I really love to do, and of course at the same time I still have the degree, so I'm good.
All right, Mr. Odum. You mentioned something about cryptocurrency and forex. So is this something you just stumbled on? Did you go for specialized training in those things?
Okay. If you ask me what I do really, I would say that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I don't trade any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in a partnership also with a real estate firm where I have some investments. I'm currently also working as investing in another transportation company. What I do basically is management. That's what my expertise is. So I have traders, and I provide resources
for the traders.
Exactly, to ensure that they deliver and all of that. So I don't have my hands on the system trading and making money, but I have people who get that done for me, both for cryptocurrency, forex, as well as
real estate.
But the typical thing is I can actually discuss these subjects. I have sufficient information to be able to track their activities.
So I know cryptocurrency is you don't really lose because you're not really trading, but forex is very volatile, very dangerous. So have you had losses?
Exactly. Cryptocurrency is even more volatile. Forex is regulated. Of course, I have had losses. I have made a lot of losses. Recently, just about 2 months ago, I still lost about ₦1 million in cryptocurrency. But of course, I've also made a whole lot more than that from the same business.
So do you have a process you when losses like this happen? It's not something you create a contingency plan for. So do you have how do you manage it with your clients?
We do have a contingency plan for losses, and it's very simple. Is that you don't spend all your money when you're making it. It's just a very simple system. We have a certain percentage that is permanently saved, all right, and also invested in certain assets that can be easily disposed of. So, we're at this point right now, we raise like really huge capital, and for you to get capital maybe as high as 7 million naira, you need to be able to provide some sort of security for whoever is investing. So we have money in assets that are fixed and can be easily disposed of. So typically we are creating a system whereby we are always sustainable and able to keep moving regardless of our losses. So what we can really lose is liquid cash. We can't lose certain assets that we have acquired. So when we make a lot of money, we save a huge chunk of it, and we're very disciplined. So we're not always, spending money and having fun and all of that. So we have plans. I mean, for me, what we do right now is more like a means to an end. It's not just about generating money and making money and making money. For me, entrepreneurship is about creating value and innovating and creating a change. For me, it's more about creating jobs and all of that. But in this system, for some reason, if you're really going to be independent and successful, I think you have to be able to create your own system by yourself. So for me, this is more like a means to an end. We're trying to make money to be able to invest in what the real dream is: build manufacturing companies, build
big establishments.
Exactly, actual companies that generate value and would add to the GDP of the nation.
All right, I'm with you on that. We'll go on a quick commercial break, and when we're back, we'll discuss extensively on your other plans.
Thank you.
You are listening to Nigeria's first finance radio station, Insights Radio. Everything business, everything finance, all on one dedicated radio station, Insights Radio.
Okay, welcome back. This is the Student Entrepreneurs Corner. With me, I have Mr.
ODUNMOLOUN. OSINEYE.
OSINEYE. All right. Before we went on the break, you mentioned something about a branding business in University of Lagos.
Yeah.
Do you want to expatiate on that?
Well, it's very simple. It's basically I print T-shirts for associations on campus, as well as some other people outside, churches who have contacted me and other organizations. But whenever you have a program, you could just reach out to me. I'll make T-shirts, and souvenirs. Basically, that's what the branding was all about.
And you still do that currently, presently?
Yeah, I still do that.
All right. That's interesting. So I would need you to discuss your ideals as a businessman, as an entrepreneur. Do you know what I mean by ideals? Driving principles, school of thought, your MO as a businessman.
Okay. First of all, I think it's very important for you to know why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. So that's what keep you going. The why. I have seen that a lot of people do business just to make money, So it's very important for you to have a why. Why are you doing whatever it is that you're doing? And it's not just business. I feel for anything that you really want to succeed at, you've got to be able to identify at the beginning the purpose for which you're doing whatever it is that you're doing.
So those are your ideals. You're purpose driven.
At the basic level, yes, that is my number one ideal. To be driven by purpose for whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, but I'm of the opinion that that's everybody's basic ideals, purpose driven.
Well, I don't exactly think so, because I have, for the most part, many times I'm even unable to sustain a conversation around like really serious, focused, intelligent conversation around whatever it is that anybody is doing. For example, you can ask an average youth or a young person why they are going to school. Many people are going to school because people go to school, and then when you leave school, you get a job because people get jobs. And then when they're done with maybe NYSC, the next thing is, okay, for example, I was somewhere and then somebody was asking me about a friend of mine who had just finished law school, and the next thing the guy was asking, is she married now? I'm like, somebody is done with law school in 2 months. The next question that comes to your mind about that person is
Like
marriage. Do you get? And because for someone like me, I would be interested in, okay, what's the next thing for you? What's the next thing in your career? Do you have a plan, or are you thinking about something like that? So not everybody are actually living purposefully, because when you're purposeful, you're intentional about every single action. The why helps you to identify what activity to take on and what not to take. There's so many opportunities available everywhere. I can't do everything. You can't do everything. Everybody cannot do everything. But there are so many people who will just take on something because they need to put food on the table. And for me, even in the worst of times, when there is absolutely no money at all, I wouldn't take on something that I know it's against what my values are. And that's what would always keep you inspired.
All right. Do you have a customer base? You should have a customer base. Most successful businesses have customer bases. So how did you build your customer base?
First of all, integrity. Your first sets of customers are your family members, and of course your friends. And the way you can earn trust from those people is how you have conducted yourself and your life over time. So building a customer base is just about you being the best person that you can possibly be. You don't want to talk to people anyhow. You don't want to be the kind of person that is offensive. You want to be the kind of person that has the ability to attract people to yourself. So I think you are first the image that your business has. The kind of person you are is what you inject in the business that you have. So for me, it's not a very difficult thing to build customers, because I just try to be truthful to them at every point in time. My customers trust me a lot, because they know that I'm not going to tell them lies. They know that I would always make it up to them, even when something happens. This in Nigeria, so many things happen. For example, there have been times when I get a job from people and I promise to deliver on a certain date, and then generator develops faults and something like that. Once I identify that there is a likelihood of a hitch or a problem, I always inform my customers early enough, and most of the time they understand. And whenever they don't understand, I always make it up to them. For example, I can decide to reduce the cost. I just don't leave any customer hurt. I always make sure that no customer leaves me unhappy. There have been times when I would leave the entire money just to make sure that my customers are happy, because the reality is that customer will always come back to you once they're happy.
So to your knowledge, to your capacity, how do you define success? It's a very broad subject. People have different adjectives to define it. So what's yours?
Well, for me, success is very simple. It's just setting a goal, conducting yourself to be disciplined enough to achieve that goal, no matter how little it is.
All right. Your current business. How did you go about getting your startup capital? Is it something you had at hand?
No. Of course, at the time when I started managing investments, I had zero capital. I had just lost about 1.4 million naira after my tricycle was stolen, and some other investments, all at the same time. It was a very tragic moment for me. I was sad. It was a terrible period. Anyway, let me just answer your question. So it's simple. I just talked to my friend. The first capital I got was 10,000 naira for what I do right now. And by the grace of God, we've been able to grow that to about a few millions of naira presently. The first capital I got was 10,000 naira, and I promised to pay the person 10% at the end of the month. It was just a friend in class. And then another 10,000, and then another 10,000, and then a 200,000, and then a 500,000, and then a 2.5 million, and then and that was basically how it was. So it wasn't really difficult for me to raise capital because, like I said, integrity is the key. It's something that I feel anybody who wants to do anything successfully in life should have. If you have integrity, there would be challenges, but then it wouldn't be very difficult to overcome those challenges. So I can easily walk up to people who know me and say, look, I'm doing this thing now, I need your help. And they would just, because they know that I've always been living up to my words.
Do you have regrets so far in your business journey? Have everything been rosy and smooth and all breezy and nice? So do you have specific?
But if you say there have been ups and downs here and there, but if you say regrets, I don't think so, because for every failure I've had, the biggest one would be failing my final year exam and having an extra year. And of course, I'm done now. But then it wasn't a regret at all, because I always find a way to make the best use of every failed opportunity or every seeming failure. I don't ever see myself as a failure, even if I fail at anything. So, for example, during the period of my extra year, I maximized the opportunity a whole lot. Of course, I did a lot of business. I made a lot of money, even though I also did very well in my academics during that period. So for me, I don't have any regrets. I make sure that for every mistake that I make, I learn from them. For example, when I had a tricycle back then, I had I think I did third-party insurance, and the tricycle was stolen. Third-party insurance would not cover thefts and all of that. But of course, now I have learned I'm not going to make that kind of mistake again. So whatever it is that I'm doing that I can get an insurance for, I would rather go for a comprehensive insurance, So I don't see any regrets in any of the mistakes that I have made or failures that I've had. I always just find a way to learn from them and keep moving forward. That's the goal. I always have my eyes,
on the prize.
The future. Exactly.
So have you had to make any sacrifices, social sacrifices, emotional, for your particular part, your business part? Anything you've had to forgo, things that you see other people indulge in, and then just because you need to be the disciplined one, you need to be focused, you just can't indulge. So do you want to talk about?
Yes, I have given up a lot of things. First, I like giving examples. So when I had a recycling business on campus when I was in year 3, and at the time when I started that business, what I used to do, the first business model I had was actually going around to pick up plastic bottles and pure water sachet around Senate building in University of Lagos. That was the first business strategy. Of course, eventually I expanded and I had other strategies like dropping sacks with all the eateries on campus. So in the evenings, I had 3 employees actually then. So we used to go together to carry the sacks, and then we deposit it in the hub. But back then, I was always in school by 5:30. I don't miss it. And for me to be in school by 5:30, I said earlier that when I wake up, I'll pray, I'll study my Bible, and then I'll read a book. It means that I had been up from around 3:30 or 4 a.m. So I deprived myself of sleep a lot. I don't attend a lot of social events. Maybe throughout my stay in University of Lagos, I've attended 2, and those 2 were fellowship social events that we had at the beach. You know, the fellowship was going to the beach, and then I just
or probably your
went.
class dinner or
And that was
something.
it. I didn't attend my class dinner.
See?
I didn't attend cultural pride nights, any of the final year programs. Immediately after my final, if I remember, after my final exam, I had a meeting on that day. So a business meeting actually. So when I submitted my last paper, I just walked out of the hall and walked straight to the meeting. So I'm a very, very busy person. I read a lot. Sometimes I have had times when I have to read against my own, will and desire, just because I know that at this particular time I must be doing this, so I keep doing it even though it's not fun. So yeah, I have made a lot of sacrifices. I don't think it's been fun all the way, but over time, when you do those things, in the beginning it's always stressful and painful and difficult. Over time you just get used to it and it becomes like a way of life. And at that point is when you maybe begin to generate results that is more consistent. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Odum, this discussion has been very insightful, very eye-opening, very, very educative. So I want to thank you again for coming in. This was very inspiring. Thank you for coming in, Mr.
Thank you very much.
This is still Student Entrepreneurs Corner. Catch us same time, same station next week. Thank you.